You're listening to a two-part series, and in this upcoming conversation, we're sharing the 10 pillars of thriving. Again, to review, we've already gone over in the last episode the first 5 pillars, and those are building resilience, accepting and integrating reality, knowing your story, your triggers, and your adaptive strategies, working your pain or you will blame, and acknowledging and respecting difference. Now, if you didn't get a chance to listen to the last episode where we talk a bit more about these first 5 pillars, I encourage you to do so because we'd love to hear from you. We would welcome your Thrivist thoughts. And now, let's tune in for our discussion on the last 5 pillars of thriving.
Welcome to Thrivist, where we share real stories, psychology, practical wisdom, and hope. We're here to inspire you with stories of overcoming and the lessons people learn along the way. We believe in humanity, and we know that we can all build resilience and thrive. Or at least low-key thrive at best. Moving on to number 6. Practicing contentment.
Ooh. I mean, Emily, I think you're good at this.
Thank you.
I think you're really good at practicing contentment. I mean, I think that practicing contentment seems very, very simple. Again, like reality. And I would say of all of the pillars, I would say this is low-hanging fruit for most of us. I think this is something that is simple that you can do every day. However, I'm sure all of you know somebody out there who just takes life as it comes. It's maybe their disposition, and they just don't seem as bothered and irritated by life. So, I think there are those people out there that just kind of are that way, but all of us can practice contentment. Like I said, it's low-hanging fruit. And I know that you and I are going to bring the Enneagram into a lot of this work. And as an Enneagram practitioner, I love looking at how the Enneagram helps us see our shadow sides. It helps us grow. And I think each Enneagram type probably does contentment a different way or has different challenges for contentment. So we might dive into Enneagram on contentment.
That would be great. Yeah. Yeah, I think the way I experience the most contentment in life is having a picnic in my backyard, AudrieAna.
Oh,
I love it.
Just amazing.
Sitting in the back lawn. I mean, not on your nice porch furniture, but just sitting on a blanket, dog, kids, just enjoying my little lot in life, my little land, and just having something simple to eat, something simple to drink, and exhaling. So I think
so lovely.
That is when I feel the most content. And I don't do that enough, but maybe once a year or something, where I'll be like, guys, let's have a picnic. Let's just sit in the back lawn. Let's have a picnic. Get out with some cute blanket. And let's do it. But when I also think of contentment, not only do I think of like a simple picnic in the back lawn, but I think of not so much having what you want in life, but wanting what you have. There's a difference there. And we're living in this world again where there's opportunities here in the Western world, to consume, to take in what's next, what's coming down, right?
Right.
Fill in whatever your thing is. It kind of gets not played a lot, contentment in the world, right?
No,
it doesn't.
And I think marketers are really good at telling us what we don't have and what we need and helping us be, envious and jealous of those who do. So it is something that I think that, especially because of social media and the online world that we're in, I think contentment has become more difficult to practice.
Yes.
So it'll be good to dive into that.
Dive into that. Yes. Yeah. You go on with number 7.
Yeah. So number 7.
You've already spoken on this.
We spoke about this in the first podcast, letting go of the outcome. So letting go of the outcome is I would say it's not low-hanging fruit. I would say it is very, very challenging. Yeah. It is challenging. It is so much easier to try to control outcome. It is so much easier to try to make your child do something or, plead and beg your partner to show up differently. But it puts you in a victim position, and it also, it's disempowering. So letting go of outcome doesn't mean I don't care about the outcome. I care a lot about the outcome, but it just means that I can only be in charge of myself, and I can only put certain things in motion. And so we'll explain that more later, probably use some case studies and probably some of our guests, where sometimes it's not until we let go of the outcome that we can truly look at ourselves, that we can truly accept what is. And there's a spiritual component to this, I think, for and this, whatever faith you have, or if you don't have a faith, what I mean by spiritual is there is kind of, it's another layer of who we are. And a spiritual practice might be letting go of the outcome. So we'll talk about that more, but I think it belongs in the list.
Yes, and it's so difficult to regularly, we know it here that our worth and value doesn't come from our output and our externals.
Right.
But to really live that way in a world that's constantly rewarding your performance,
right,
it's pretty challenging. And when you say outcome, I'm always thinking about the performance of it. So, but just holding a sense of my own sacredness in the sacred space I get to live in every day, just being me, regardless of anything else, is a different way to live. You show up differently when you can hold that, and it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
to live
and
that way.
You don't live with pressure. I believe, we just finished with the Olympics, and one of the ice skaters, I think her name's Alyssa Liu. Is that her name? I'm not sure. Do we know?
I miss the ice skaters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, she won the gold 4 years ago, and she retired. She was tired of ice skating, and then she took 3 years off, and she decided to come back and skate at this Olympics.
Wow.
And it may have been 2020 that 2022 she retired, but she was 16 years old when she retired. So that just tells you she was tired of working all those hours. And her story is fabulous because when she came back, she said, I'm coming back just for the joy of skating. I'm not coming back to win gold medals. I'm not coming back to be the best anymore. I've done that. She took time off. She picked up her skates. She competed, and she won gold for the women this year for our team. And everyone was commenting that she looked so graceful and so pressureless and so joyful. She was letting go of the outcome. She was there for the process. She wanted to do her best, but she wanted to skate because she loved to skate, and she let go. And there were others who were expected to win that really the pressure got to them and crumbled. And I think she's just one example of how letting go of the outcome is a freer way to live and a freer way to compete.
I love that. Now she makes me want to watch her. That's
watch
incredible.
She was amazing.
Right. That's awesome. Well, our next pillar is strong connections. Connections with ourselves, our family, our community that we're in every day. And this is truly, one of my absolute favorite words, connection, right?
Okay.
And I love that Brene Brown, the way she defines connection. So I have to share that and bring that into our space today. Brene says that a connection is actually energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, when they can derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. Isn't that great?
That's a fabulous, that's a lot of words. We might want to put that in the show notes because that is a fabulous quote. It's really hard to define connection, but we'll leave it to Brene Brown. She can do it.
She nailed it. It's like hanging out with the right people in life is like eating Thanksgiving dinner. You are filled, right? You're like, there's flavors I didn't even know exist. This is amazing. How have I been missing it? So we're going to look at our connections with ourselves, what stops us, what hinders us in our connection with ourselves, how our connections with others will never be better than the connection we have within ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't give away things that we don't already experience, and then we'll look at those connections with others.
Yeah. So, and those of you who are probably reading, longevity studies have been a really big deal over the last several years in the 2020s. There's a lot of research on longevity, a lot of thought leaders, a lot of physicians out there talking about longevity. And longevity, a big component is our strong connections to our community, to our families. So we are not made to live in isolation. And I know as for myself and also as a couples therapist, some of the deepest pain is when we feel disconnected. It hits us in a place that is just hard. We are hardwired to be attached to others. And when we don't have that connection, or it's gone, south, it's gone toxic, it is such a deep pain. And so thriving and building resilience is really working on those connections. And just because we aren't made to be living on an island by ourselves.
Yes.
Connections are really important.
They're huge.
So the 9th pillar that we chose was embracing holistic wellness. And this really has come out for me because I don't think that we can ignore the mind, body, spirit connection. I think that when we only focus on our mind, we're not paying attention to other things that are really impacting our mind. When we only focus on our body, our health, we're not focusing on how our mind impacts our body. And when we only focus on our spirituality, for example, we're not paying attention to these other two factors that are playing into it. Really, holistic wellness is where wellness is going right now. Functional medicine, integrative medicine. Yes. And I think I did a year-long training with as a functional medicine health coach, and that really raised my awareness. I did that, Emily, because when you've got someone with chronic fatigue or a chronic, an autoimmune condition, you have to factor in what they're dealing with physically, with their depression, for example, or the addiction that they have, that they're trying to soothe the pain that they're feeling in their bodies, or the disconnection in their family, that they can no longer do the things that they used to do with their family. Or when someone's had, let's go to the other component, spirituality. When someone has been very hurt by their church, very hurt by abuse, very hurt by a leader that maybe they respected that has turned away from the church. These things impact us in our mind, and now how we think about things. These things also impact us in our body, and how we may stop eating, we may sleep a lot, and so our body starts wasting away. So I just feel like there is no way to separate the mind, the body, and the spirit, which is why I did that extra training. And I think that approaching things from a holistic way, whether it's your physician, your therapist, your pastor, teachers at school, if they're not approaching things holistically, they're missing some really important things. And so helping folks really look at themselves as holistic beings and not just one component of that.
Yes, we are dynamic and wonderfully made. And to cut off any of the three, body, mind, or spirit, is to remove some real data points that are very important in our wellness and our ability to thrive. And I think for all of us, maybe we could say, hey, I have a great thought life, my thoughts are really great, and I take my thoughts captive, and I look at my beliefs underneath my thinking, and I really then produce an output that is really full of possibilities and energy, and it gets me where I want to be. Great. But how does your body feel, and how are you caring for your body? And how in touch are you with your body? I've had seasons of life where I'm not listening to my body near enough.
Right. Oh,
we're just powering through, right?
Yes, and, absolutely.
So that is something I feel like I'm always kind of coming back to, and caring for my body and honoring it.
Yeah.
And then certainly the spirit of it, the life force that lives in all of us, that when we see it, we recognize, whoa, we're all interconnected, and there's a world happening that's so much bigger than all of us.
Right.
And so feeding our spirit, feeding that is huge. And what gives us life and keeps life coming at us, and where we're giving life to others. There's huge on longevity when you bring into the studies not only relationship quality, but giving, being a giver.
Yeah.
Purpose. And so we're going to look at that too when we talk about the spirit of a person.
Right.
And so those three are dynamic and something that we look at over a lifetime because they change based on your season.
And I think too, being a trauma therapist, right? A lot of the studies of trauma now, and we know that Bessel van der Kolk wrote this book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Yes.
So if you've not heard of that book, that was a pivotal book in our field. Bessel van der Kolk helped PTSD become a part of the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual. So it is the reason we can thank Bessel for helping identify what PTSD is and helping insurance companies pay for the treatment of PTSD. But his study on trauma, and how it impacts the body and there are many other therapists out there, Peter Levine, and others who really look at the storage of trauma in our body and the storage of trauma down to the cellular level that we store trauma in our body. And so, good trauma work now includes somatic work and paying attention to the body. And there are folks that they find relief from their autoimmune conditions, from their cardiac disease, whatever it might be that they're dealing with. When their mental health improves, a lot of times those things improve as well. So I strongly believe that we can't separate those. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And there's always a new supplement out. So I'm excited to learn. I mean, there's always something new out besides the protein and the water that we need to be having more of today. We know, So, and then this last one is really a passion of yours, AudrieAna, and I love it because I've recently started taking Pilates with my daughter, the hot Pilates. And so when you think of Pilates, you're always thinking of the core and strengthening the core, right?
Right.
And you've taken a great twist on the core.
Yes. So I said in our first episode that I have been shaped by the work of Pia Melody and by training with people who trained with her. And Pia Melody did developmental and relational trauma work. And she's written several books, but she focuses on kind of the inner core, right? So there are some core skills that she teaches and that those of us who've been trained expand upon. And so, my take on core skills for emotional wellness, so to speak, I do see the parallel in the body. Like if you don't have a strong core in your body, you're going to have injuries, you're going to fall easily, you're going to have low back pain, you're going to have neck pain, the core is vital to physical therapists know that it is vital to you being able to move and function. And athletes train the core, whether they're playing tennis, golf, or they're skiing, they train the core. So what are we doing? What are we doing in mental health, emotional wellness, and personal growth to train the core that cannot be seen, the invisible core that holds me upright, And so, there are several components within that, and we'll break that down. But you focusing on building up your internal core emotionally, mentally, will help you move through life with less injuries, will help you move through life more freely and with less emotional pain, relational pain, spiritual pain. So we won't, I'll mention two of the five core, but the first one is self-esteem and the second one is boundaries. So we'll be talking about Pia's work and how it's shaped me and how I work with clients, as well as there are many therapists that use her work now. Big names that we would, some people may know, but living from our core rather than letting the external forces dictate who we are. We live from our internal space and we let that be what we move forward with.
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Cloud has been one of my favorites around the boundaries work, and that's just timeless. I'm still recommending that to clients. Most people have now all heard about it. Everyone, I've heard about that, right? But wow, to read it again, based on your different season of life, it's fantastic life application around how to make your best yes in a day.
Yeah.
How to say no and not have resentment hanging off, or say no, and then all of a sudden, you kind of inside again, your body's telling you something different. So, these are just universal lessons that we've all learned. And sometimes we've seen boundaries modeled really well. Sometimes we haven't.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, you talk about, some people are really loose with their boundaries. Hey, everybody's welcome, right? And then sometimes some people are like, overly boundaried, and there's too much.
Closed.
Right. So we're going to get into what does that look like, the application, what's right for each of us, and just draw some more awareness to what was modeled even around boundaries.
Right. And before boundaries, even the most important thing is self-esteem, and having a really good self-esteem practice, and really valuing yourself and valuing others, not for what you do, but who you are. So, and that's really the foundation for the inner core work. So self-esteem and boundaries will definitely be part of the core work.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. So,
we did it. We got through all the pillars.
We did.
We wanted to let you all know what is the foundation of this podcast, right? That we think that everyone can be a Thrivist. A Thrivist is someone who is in the pursuit of the art and science of thriving, right? We all can pursue this, and we never arrive, but we wanted to give you guys just a taste of what each one of these means to us, at least. And then we can't wait to bring guests on to talk about how they have used some of these pillars, and then hopefully leave you all with something that you can use immediately after listening to our deep dives on each one of these.
Yes, because we do believe that we can all build resilience, and we can all learn to thrive, or at least low-key thrive at best.
Right, at best. Thanks for joining us at Thrivist, where talk transforms and builds resilience in an unpredictable world.